Office with Joseph Skoda, part of Social Media Shows Network at this time. I want to talk to you a little bit about a movie I saw last night. It's called The Escape Room. I'm not here to tell you watch this movie or watch that movie. I'm not here to say those things, but it was enlightening. It's kind of challenging. And what they did, I'm not going to tell you about the whole movie, but they brought people from all walks of life. You have your successful businessman. You have the guy who can barely stock shelves in the store. You've got the loners that nobody wants to socialize with. You have all these people from different walks of life that were kind of forced to come together. Now we get that. A lot of time we'll maybe walk down the street and you won't see the professional or the doctor or lawyer maybe talking to the janitor or the teacher, or the football, the jock, the star will be talking to the druggie or someone in the academic whiz. And that happens because we get stuck in our own world and we don't really care. We kind of have our blinders on sometimes and don't pay attention to what's really going on around us. Now, we're all guilty of that. I'm guilty of that myself. And sometimes it's because of our upbringing, definitely our experiences and places that we've been. But it's so important to kind of give everyone a chance. In this particular movie, they had to give everyone a chance because someone knew maybe better math, someone knew maybe better history, someone was maybe more physically fit. Because deep down inside, we all of us, have something to offer. Now, sure, I like to think I'm a smart, intelligent person, and I am in some aspects. But what makes me smart is the people I hang around with. Because there's always someone smarter, more intelligent, better looking, more athletic than you are. And it's time we embrace one another's differences and skills, because we all have different skills, we all have different attributes, but a lot of us are too shy, too arrogant to maybe ask for help, to just try to figure out what our neighbor does. Sure, our neighbor might work for General Motors, or neighbor might work in the military, but do we really know them? And quite frankly, those are just jobs. If you're a car manufacturer, if you're a leader in this organization, or even if you're a Toastmaster like I am, those are professions. Those are likes, and it's definitely a part of our life. But what's our background? Do you really know that if the janitor in the school never made anything out of himself? He probably did, or he had a rough life, or he lost a loved one, or couldn't go back to school, or whatever the situation is. It wasn't too long ago where I met this veteran, Vietnam veteran, who's struggling. He's living in a bus. But he told me his story. In Nam, he was actually under fire quite a bit and had to fire back. But he told me when he came back to the United States, he made millions in construction. And then he lost millions. And then he went back and made millions again. And then he lost millions again. If you see him today, he's all scraggly and making ends meet. He's in his 70s. He's still doing heavy construction and heavy lifting. And he looks like a tough SOB. And quite frankly, he is a tough SOB. But that man has a story. And we can learn from those guys that you and I might think are begging on the streets, or those people feel like they've just had a rough life altogether. But deep down inside, we all had a rough life. We've all had issues and problems and obstacles that we had to overcome. How do we do that? Do we do it by ourselves? We might think we are smart enough to do things by ourselves, but if we want true success, if we really want to grow and become better people, we need to listen to others, especially those that have been there. Now, we see it on social media a lot. We'll see an old man getting harassed by young teenagers or young punks in their 20s, not realizing that 60, 70-year-old has a past when he wasn't a punk, but he was a badass. He had to support his family, he had to defend his country, he had to do what he had to do to survive. And why do so many of us discount our elderly? Those elderly are our parents, our grandparents. So however they came to the country, wherever they're in the world, they had to support their family and do whatever it took. Now, back at the turn of the century, well, not the 21st century, but the 20th century, most Americans, and probably most people around the world, had an entrepreneur spirit. They all had their own bakeries, or maybe did some sewing in the house, or washing, or whatever they had to do, maybe bartenders back then, but they had the entrepreneur spirit. And ever since the big industrial age where people started working for factories, a lot of them kind of lost that. Now we're coming back into a time right now where we're allowed to use our brains again. We're allowed to discover ourselves and discover different things that aren't working the way we want to see it in this world. So if somebody has an entrepreneur spirit next to you and they don't want to get a job like you have, or they don't want to go to school like someone else is doing, but they have a vision, support them, help them. And if you have knowledge to help them along their journey and succeed, by all means give it. Because what goes around comes around. The good, the bad, the ugly will all come back around to you. So be kind. Be kind to everyone. You know, the crossing guard on the street. I'm going to tell you, they have a story. You might think that's the worst job in the world. Sometimes that's a second job, or a way to get closer to their kids, or maybe to get a way back where they're with their grandkids in the neighborhood and they get to see them every day. Everyone has a story, and don't discount them. Because we all grew up, most of us had loving parents who cared and did the best they could to provide for us. Now, sure, none of our parents were perfect. They were trying to learn themselves. And if you're the first child, well, quite frankly, we was on-the-job training with our parents. I was the first child. They did the best they could, and of course, my brothers will think that I had it made all the time, and I think just the opposite. Regardless, we're always going to have our sibling rivalry and rivalry with our cousins or even aunts and uncles and neighbors. Who cares? Because deep down inside, if we're not trying to grow and pull people up with us, you're losing out. Don't try to push someone to the side. Don't try to discount them. Don't try to think you're better than anyone. Not one of us is better than the next person. And it takes all of us together as a community, as a society, if we really want to do what's right and grow. Because it's not about you or I. It's about what we can do for others. I believe, quite frankly, we're put on this earth to serve each other. And if you know something, help someone. If you're great at email or marketing and advertising and you see a struggling person with their business, offer your services. Offer your services. Don't worry, someone's going to help you along the way. And usually that's through mentorship. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Ask for a mentor. Ask for a coach. And when you get all you need and you start learning, offer to be a mentor, a coach for someone else. Because quite frankly, that is a reward in itself when you're helping someone else to their own visions of success. Entrepreneurship, a great job, a teacher, a lawyer, even a crossing guard. There's a reason we're all doing what we have to do. Respect, learn, and grow. And by all means, be something to someone so you and I can make a real difference in this world. Once again, this is In the Office with Joseph Skoda. And I encourage you to go outside of your comfort zone and meet someone who might not be like you. Might not go to the same kind of schools, might not be in the same circles you're in. You may just walk past them on the street, whatever the reason is. Go out of your comfort zone. Befriend them. You just might learn something. You have yourself a great day and a great life. I look forward to chatting to you soon. Have yourself an awesome day.
John is an employee at one of the most famous firms in the city of New York, so his job is very hectic, and he realized that it is necessary for him to go and finally take a vacation. But he went on a vacation without planning out the details, and wasn't able to truly enjoy where he went because he had to think about so many things that he didn't plan for. Instead of enjoying his time away from work, he came back with more stress that he was not able to take full advantage of his vacation. But this year, a coworker suggested him to try World Ventures this time to make his vacationing more enjoyable and less stressful. They do not require you to plan anything outside of your transportation, which is also available at discounted rates. Your stay, your transport, and many meals are planned by the club. John liked the idea very much. He tries World Ventures, and his experience with the club was amazing, as he made many friends there with whom he had a great time. John recommends that everyone should try this club, as they are the best in business. See how the VIP-vacation-club.com can give you the right experience without all the hassle. Enjoy the VIP experience that only World Ventures provides.
Hello everyone, you're in the office with Joseph Skoda. And today I want to talk to you a little bit about drive. Drive! You know, that emotion, that something that gives you the extra energy to want to do more, accomplish more, be more. So I'm going to ask you a simple question. What drives you? What drives you? I'm sure it's not a fancy hat or a really good looking haircut, but the bottom line is what makes you happy. What can make you do something different today that you haven't done before? Let me give you some ideas. Each one of us has something that made us drive. Maybe when we were in school, we just want to be a better baseball player, football player, or at least the drive to ask the opposite sex out. Opposite sex, I'm telling you, whatever that drive is. But what motivates you today? Obviously, as we get older, we have more obstacles, more stress, more frustrations, because quite frankly, we need to make a living. We need to earn a couple dollars. We need to pay our bills. We need to be able to buy that car, that vehicle. And most likely, if you had to drive to ask that significant other out, you're probably married now and have children you have to support also. But we lose that drive as we get older. We're fearful. In some cases, we're fearful of the future, the unknown, possibly a layoff at our jobs. And we learn it now from General Motors and so many other companies that even the government has helped bail out are still struggling and want to lay off their workers. So I can understand most of us don't have the drive to go back into work and talk about this or talk about that because we're the fear of the unknown. So is it money that drives you? Do you have to make an extra $1,000 a month to really be motivated to wake up in the morning? Is it having kids, make it through college, or at least a happy spouse, if nothing else? And probably make a happy spouse, you have to do something special to kind of sort of make them happy. And that should be a drive for each and every one of us, to make our parents proud, make our spouses proud, make our children proud. Now, I get all of that, but deep down inside, if it doesn't come from here, if it doesn't come from what you really want or need or believe in, sometimes it's not real. We can see that. A lot of people, we hear it, I don't know firsthand experience, but a lot of people that have hit the lottery of multi-millions of dollars become penniless over just a short amount of years. Now, why is that? And why is that? Because most of us don't know how to manage the little bit of money we do have, and we have a lot of money. There's a lot more that we mismanage. Sure, you can have a nice house, nice car, and pretty much do everything for your friends and family. You can be broke in a really short amount of time. A lot of us will delve into businesses or give all the money to someone, maybe a relative that said they know what they were doing, and we're just going to trust them. And that's okay. On a side note, really, really quick, make sure when you invest in a business, a company, a friend, a relative, a stock, volunteer organization, make sure you do your own research. Don't just take someone's word that, hey, these are Girl Scout cookies, they're the best in the world, and our Girl Scouts can go to camp for free. You know, the CEO makes, I forgot the exact number, but I don't know, 70, 80% of that money coming from the Girl Scouts goes directly to the CEO. Look it up. I don't have to tell you that. And that happens with a lot of other organizations. Check out the Salvation Army. Check out the American Red Cross. And Planned Parenthood, I wouldn't recommend checking them out at all. But you and I have to do our own due diligence, not necessarily listen to a friend or family member, even if they're making a lot of money. Now, if you have a brother-in-law or sister or whatever it is who is making money through a business, legal company, legal business, legal idea, pay attention. Because more likely than not, they're not watching TV or even doing videos all the time. They're focusing on other things that drive them. And when you find someone that has that drive to do more, to do better, to accomplish greater things, hold on to them. Hold on to them, because they can teach you or I or any of us something different about ourselves. Now, like I talked about earlier, you might want to be a better football player, better baseball player, maybe a race car driver. Drive you maybe one day to drive that Ferrari. I've driven a Ferrari. It's a very nice car. Today I cannot afford a Ferrari, maybe someday down the line, but that's not what drives me. Drives me is experiences. What drives me is going to the Grand Canyon or taking a cruise or flying, I don't care, but just to Hawaii. With loved ones, with friends, with family that I can have a good time with. Maybe we can rent that Ferrari in Denver, Colorado or something and just have a great weekend, a great go of it. You don't have to travel to Egypt or Morocco or even Greenland to enjoy your life. There's so much to live and love right where you live, right where you plant your roots, right where you hang your hat. But I do encourage you to look for experiences outside of that, because the more we learn from outside of our city, our state, our country, the more well-rounded we become, and the more appreciative we become of how other cultures live, or what they decide, or what they eat. Now, quite frankly, every culture's got their non-fat food like we do here in America. And it's fun to taste and sample different things, and music and clothing, and so many other ideals out there. And thankfully, I belong to an organization called Toastmasters. There's one of the pins I wear from time to time. And since we're in like 140 countries around the world, and I go to the international conventions every year, I meet some really wonderful people. They're the wonderful people who, them too, have a drive to be something better, to learn more, to network in a more productive manner. We all have that about ourselves. So associate yourself with organizations, with people that want to do more. You and I can't do it all by ourselves, and if nothing else, we can at least set a good example for our children, our friends, our neighbors, our brothers, our sisters. Always, you should wake up every day and say, what can I do today better than I did yesterday? What can I learn? Who can I influence in a positive manner? Hey, I'm a Christian. I believe strongly there's one God, only one God. He sent down his son, Jesus Christ, who died for our sins to show us another way to salvation. Yes, that should motivate you, because you and I, thanks to salvation, we still have a chance in this world. And while we still live in this world, we need to find a way to leave it better than we came into it, for one thing. Lead by example and serve others and show love, comfort, compassion to one another. Now, there are a lot of bad people out there, there really are, who want to hurt not just our democracy or way of life or Christian values, but who just don't care about anything and want to make a name for themselves and destroy everything in their path. Be careful, because often the ones that wants to hurt us the most has the most charisma, the more passion, the compassion they want to show us, but they're going to lead us into death. Find what drives you, follow it, study if you must. Don't just take anyone's word for it. But to become a better you, you need to use your noggin. You need to use prayer. You need to use, you know what I'm talking about. Find out what drives you. Make this year better than last year. If it's a business venture, I strongly encourage you to follow your heart and passion. Make sure you do your research first. And then you can be a better you while you're making a difference in this world. Once again, this has been Joseph Skoda, and I tell you, find your passion. Adios and drive.